Hello there. My name is Yaag, and this is the very first episode of the Yaag Project. In fact, when I first tweeted this idea, one of the persons who retweeted this or probably quote tweeted this and asked, I don't know what the Yaag Project is all about. I think that is a great place to start this one. So, before I started this, I used to run another show called the ABM Conversations Podcast, which predominantly focused on all things to do with B2B content marketing, B2B sales, and B2B marketing at large. It was predominantly all things to do in the B2B environment within a typical SaaS company. So we had guests like Seth Godin, Guy Kawasaki, and all these people came in and shared amazing knowledge, which became an amazing podcast that ran for more than 150 episodes. But at some point, I realized that the way I really work, or the way I build relationships, the way I write books, or probably the reason why I choose to join certain companies and be part of certain projects is because there is an underlying philosophy behind every single thing. And when I look back, majority of the things that may or may not have worked were initially started in the form of a smaller side project. I might start doing something as a few pages of content, and that eventually sometimes becomes a book, sometimes it might be dropped off, so on and so forth. That everything starts as a small side project and eventually becomes something. That openness, that vulnerability, and that something that I wanted to share with you guys was not the scope of the previous podcast. So I thought, let's start with this and see if you find it useful and if I can contribute something to your life. And it is not just confined to marketing, sales, or business, but this is generally about most things in life. So unlike a typical marketer, I'm not trying to focus this on a specific audience, but I'm trying to be useful to you as a human. And if you like it, then that's awesome. If not, I would love your feedback as the episodes go by. All right. So, one of the first topics that I wanted to discuss with you today was about relationships. Now, there is a story that I would like to share with you to start this. Back in 2015, I was writing a book called Is Your Marketing in Sync or Sinking? And as part of that project, what I did was I was interviewing people from different parts of the world, VPs of marketing or agency owners or CMOs, so on and so forth. And that was because I always believe that it's not just me and my thought processes that should go into a book, but it should glean into the real time experiences and insights of people who have been in situations, understand the nuances of how something is done, and get that into a book so that it becomes more applicable. Right. So what happened was in 2015, while I was writing that book, I reached out to somebody called Chris, who was back then a chief innovation officer at a marketing agency. He gave me about 20 minutes, and we started talking. And before we realized, almost 2 hours had already run by. And in that course of conversation, it was not just confined to things related to the book and the ideas that I wanted to, learn from him or get his views on, but it was also that we realized there was so much that we had in common as a human, the way we think about it or the way we approach our life with certain philosophies, the underlying approach to something, so on and so forth. And in about 6 months, we realized that we had become such close friends that all his friends were my friends, and the other way around as well. And in 6 months, I was like at his home in the Netherlands, where he was taking me to the Chamber of Commerce, and we were doing keynotes at different parts of Netherlands and Germany, because he used to stay in a city called Enschede, which is on the German border. And we stayed together for 10 days. And back then, he was going through some rough time in his personal life as well. And as we opened up, as we became real good friends, on the 10th day, when I was leaving back home, I was like, I was really, really heartbroken. I was like, I did not want to leave, such a good friend behind. It might, it might sound like a soap, but it really happened. And I'm not one of those guys who gets emotional about everything, right? So it so happened that that was something that connected us. And I like a imagine a 35-year-old person sitting in the Amsterdam airport and crying like a baby for like 4 hours. It really happened. And it took about some 15 to 20 days for me to come back and reintegrate in my life. And the beauty of that resulted in that, every year we started meeting one way or the other. We started spending about 10 to 15 days together. And either we did certain projects together, we worked on a few things together. By the way, he now runs music band called Ignite, where he manages a lot of bands in and around Europe. So at that point, what happened was, we started meeting every now and then. We started meeting at least once a year. Sometimes it could be projects related to marketing, sometimes it could be just for the purpose of spending time together, and things went on. The reason I'm sharing this story is that what connects you is not, the company's vision, or what the product that you start with, or get connected to people for a particular transactional purpose. But ultimately it starts from the fundamental idea of, do we have the same values? Do we believe in each other's way of doing things? Are we aligned with where we are headed together? Now, to expand this into the work front, let me give you another example. So around 2016-17, I was working for a SaaS organization where I was heading the marketing for a chat tool. And I saw my current CEO, Aditya, who was at that point, he had tweeted saying that he was unhappy with the tool that he was using. And I was in marketing, but still, I reached out to him and I said, hey, do you want to use my product for free for a year? You just try it out. If it works, it works. The conversation didn't go through. He didn't buy in. But what happened was, we became friends. We kept in touch. And I started observing the way he conducts business, the way he looks at things. And many a time I thought that, hey, it aligns with the way I think about things. For instance, my personal belief system is that when I do competitive research, I personally believe that I will not sign up for a competitor's product and do mystery shopping to learn how that product works. Although that is generally considered part of research, to me, it doesn't fall in my ethical parlance, where I believe that it's okay to learn what works or doesn't work with your competitor from a prospect, rather than you snooping into your competitor's product and seeing what it is. That's me. So I saw similar values with Aditya, with the way Avoma was getting built, and I was observing Avoma from the outside for more than a year. And in 2021, I reached out to him and I said, hey, the transparency that you have within your organization, and the clarity that people have in your company, and your vision, and the value systems that you have aligns a lot with me. And I see that you don't have a marketing person on your team. So looks like a right fit if we can have a conversation on this. And we did. And in about 3 weeks time, I was a part of Avoma, and I still am, and it's been an amazing journey. So the point of all this is that, a great relationship need not be confined to something transactional, need not be only about working together to achieve a common vision, although all those things do work, but only when there are fundamental values and fundamental philosophies, and we all believe in the same set of things, or at least, we believe in that other person, for whom that, even though at some point, if we don't feel the best of our times, we still want to do it because we don't want to let the other person down. It's just like, being in a family where you would go out of your way to do things just because you want to make sure that your child gets whatever they deserve, your family gets whatever they deserve. So at the end of the day, the point I'm trying to leave you today with is that, if we can build those relationships with people at a deeper level and humanize things, then pretty much everything falls in place. But if you start things transactionally, it usually fails to transform. Thank you so much. I hope this made some sense. And if not, do let me know, and I'll continue to speak my mind in my upcoming episodes. But until then, looking forward to your feedback. And this is as much your project as mine. So keep your feedback coming. as you've always been. And thank you so much. You have a great day.